So here we are with the perfect tips and tricks to make bhajis and pakoras. Folks, this video is for those who struggle and want to master the art of bhaji and pakoda making. So let's get started. Roasted Bengal gram flour 1 cup, rice flour 1/4 cup, salt 1 teaspoon or less, red chili powder 1 teaspoon, turmeric powder 3/4 of a teaspoon, a pinch of asafoetida powder, baking soda 1/8 of a teaspoon, red food coloring strictly optional, and water to bind them all. Tip number 1. Using the right amount of water. Do not mix the coating batter very runny or too thick. It should be in a flowing thin consistency, yet should be thick enough to give a full coat on the veggies. Today we shall be making bhajis with potatoes, red onions, eggplant or brinjal. Tip number 2. Slicing the veggies. Slice them roughly between 2 to 3 mm. A little less or little more could be okay, but do not make it razor thin or so bulky and thick. Don't be intimidated with the measurements. A normal slicer usually makes them in that sizes only. Just get the slices coated by dunking it into the coating batter. Lift and let the batter slide off the excess. Tip number 3. Temperature of the oil. Heat the oil right enough to the point it just starts to bubble. Do not drop them in lukewarm or cold oil. Ensure not to raise the temperature too high that the outer gets cooked so fast and the inner stays uncooked. We have lined up a list of videos more similar to this in our channel. Do enjoy them and check our playlist too. Toss the hot oil over the bhajis as they cook to ensure even cooking. When they start to puff up like a pocket and the oil slows down bubbling with the color changing on the bhajis, it's time to remove them off. Tip number 4. Clear the mess. Remove the dripping batter contents before each batch addition to the oil, or it may burn down to a black waste, spoiling the oil. This might mean simple but could make a mess, even coating the bhajis over the top, giving it a burnt flavor. Tip number 5. Do not clutter. Too much of a crowd could make the batter to stick with each other, so keep it barely wide for them to swim and cook in the oil. And if they tend to stick to each other or clinging to the sides, just separate them gently as they cook. If you loved watching the video, press the like button. Tip number 6. Strain off excess oil as much as possible when you remove them from the oil. Drain the excess oil, placing it over a tissue or a paper napkin. Tip number 7. Very important. Do not press them to strain the excess oil, or you will ruin the texture of the bhajis. So those are our 7 simple tips to get your bhajis right. Next up is our deep fried crispy onion pakoras. Ingredients for pakoras are onion sliced finely 2 to 3 medium sized. Tip number 1. To get onion pakoras right, thinly slice the onion first, not thicker than 2 mm. The more thick it is, chances are it becomes more soggy after being cooked. Moreover, time to cook will increase too. Rock salt 3/4 of a teaspoon. You can use normal table salt too. Tip number 2. Massage the salt and the chopped onions together until all the strands of the onions separate from each other. Red chili powder 1 teaspoon. Turmeric powder half teaspoon. A pinch of hing or asafoetida. Next, we shall add the flours. Roasted Bengal gram flour 1 cup and rice flour less than 1/4 of a cup. Rice flour helps in getting the polka dots crisp. Tip number 3. Do not add baking soda or any red food coloring. Deep frying will automatically bring out the reddish orange color to your polka dots. Tip number 4 is to first mix the salt and the spices with those shredded strands of onions without adding any water or liquid to the polka dot mix. Adding water will lead to soften the batter, making polka dots not crispier as expected. Tip number 5 is to mix the flour to the shredded onions. Toss it well to coat each strand of onion with the polka dot mix. Tip number 6 is to maintain the balance of the flour to the onions. Although a rough measure has been suggested on the quantity, the secret to getting polka dots right is tons of practice only. And now for the secret for this recipe. The flour should not be clinging to the dough like a batter, but it should be dry, separating the onion strands from clinging to each other. Our advice to you is to adjust your measurements as you keep doing it subsequently. If the flour is excess, the polka dots will slightly be soggy. On the contrary, if it's way less than it should be, you might end up cooking fried onions instead of polka dots. Just take a little polka dot mix and gently drop it in the oil as you separate them with fingers rubbing them each other as you drop. Fry the polka dots by gently tossing them in hot oil. The oil has to be really hot to fry them. Do not allow them to stick to each other. Gently toss them as they cook to avoid sticking to the bottom of the pan. Doing this ensures polka dots to cook evenly. Tip number 7 is to fry them until they change color. Definitely not until the polka dots are fully brown. The color has to be between golden and red tones, not dark brown. As the polka dots get cooked, the bigger bubbles get smaller and slowly settling down. That's the sign that the polka dots are cooked. Strain off excess oil as much as possible when you remove them from the oil. Drain the excess oil, placing it over a tissue or a paper napkin. We are on other social networks too. Follow us on Insta, Facebook and Pinterest. If you're on Twitter, do tweet us. Remove clutter to avoid the bad bits in your polka dots at the end of each batch. So those are our 7 tips to perfect crispy onion polka dots. Hope you enjoyed trying both our recipes. Do let us know by commenting us with your results. Thank you. Enjoy the monsoon with our hot polka dots and budgies. See you soon with more recipes from Licks and Bites, a channel showcasing food crossing borders across, exploring taste. If you are new here, please do subscribe to our channel and do not forget to press the bell button to receive notifications on our new videos.